One last question before I let you go. Since you're a Mississippi State guy, or you cover at Mississippi State, I should say, um, you've obviously been around Mike Leach. You've got to cover Mike Leach a little bit. And the timing's ironic because College Football Hall of Fame ballot came out this week. What were your thoughts on Mike Leach not being included on that ballot?
My thoughts from the moment, when he passed and it became clear that he wasn't going to get enough wins or have the winning percentage to be on the ballot was immediately that it's a bogus decision, and it's one that there should be an exception. It really shouldn't be much of a conversation, in my opinion, because to me, a Hall of Fame in any sport is not solely based on wins and losses, or at least not wins and losses with no context. First of all, you got to look at where he coached and the success that he had. He coached at Texas Tech, Washington State, and Mississippi State, and had exceptional careers at all three spots.
Yep.
Had his last season at Mississippi State, they ended up winning 9 games. He coached for 8 of those wins, and that doesn't happen at Mississippi State. Winning 9 games, it's only happened a handful of times in program history. At Washington State, I mean, you had like who had circled on their schedules a 9 p.m. Central Time, a 10 p.m. Eastern Time Washington State game. That never happens. And when he was coaching there, you had to watch because those teams were so good, so fun to watch. At Texas Tech, I mean, the stuff that speaks for itself. The career he had at Texas Tech, he's 1 or 2 percentage points in terms of winning percentage away from being eligible for the Hall of Fame. But he changed college football. He changed the NFL. I mean, when he passed, you had guys like Bill Belichick talking about the schemes that they run, the schemes that Tom Brady's Patriots ran based on Mike Leach's air raid offense, right? Like the guy changed football as a whole because he thought in a way that nobody else really thought, besides maybe those closest to him who helped him, get the air raid to where it is. I mean, it's not a debate. You can't talk about college football. You can't talk about college football today. You can't break down Tennessee's successful season, with Hooker and Heupel without talking about, Heupel learning from the Mike Leach offense. You can't talk about Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams at USC winning a Heisman without talking about, Mike Leach and air raid offense. I don't know. I understand that there needs to be some criteria for people to make it in because every school is going to want, their favorite coach or their favorite player getting in. But I think there really is no debate about whether Mike Leach is one of the most influential people in college football history. And that's a guy who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
I totally agree. And I actually had the privilege of voting in that, and obviously knew his name wasn't going to be on there, but not seeing it was kind of a bummer. So yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. Mike Leach is one of my favorite all-time coaches in any sport. You mentioned the 3 schools he coached at. It's not easy to win at any of those places. It's not easy to recruit to any of those places. You could argue maybe Texas Tech because it's in Texas, but my gosh, he's competing against, Texas, Baylor, Texas Tech. I mean, I'm sorry, TCU, Oklahoma State. I mean, not to mention SMU. I mean, look at all the schools they're competing with for recruits. So yeah, not easy places to win and recruit at, and he did it at all 3. It's and like you said, just even Neil Brown at West Virginia, Mike came from the Mike Leach tree. I mean, right. It's hard to find a team in college football, maybe even in the NFL, that doesn't have some kind of attachment or tie to the Mike Leach air raid offense.
Yeah. I mean, Graham Harrell was on the ballot this year, and it almost feels ironic, right? You have him on the ballot, and I'm sure he would probably be the first person to go up there and vouch for Mike Leach if he had to.
Yep, agreed. Totally agree. Yeah, great, ironic timing that you were on the show today because when his name came up earlier in the conversation, I thought I've got to ask him about this because it's kind of a hot topic of conversation around the country, at least on social media. One more time, Stefan, before we get out of here, let the fine folks know where they can find you and your work and find you on social media as well.
Yeah, on Twitter and X, it's at SKRAJISNIK3. And all our work is at theclarionledger.com. We cover Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Ole Miss, everything throughout the state of Mississippi. So you can catch all our coverage there. And I really appreciate you having me on, man. It was great having all these discussions.
Absolutely, Stefan. It's been really fun, man.
Agree. Well, thanks for having me on, man.
Yep, absolutely, Stefan. You have a great day, and thanks again for coming on.